Hey, coaches. Welcome back to Football Talk with Coach Chip, episode 35, the Phil Necro episode. If you're in your 20s or 30s and you don't get that, then you didn't grow up suffering through the 1970s Braves on WTCG before it became WTBS, and then TBS later on. Those like me in their 50s and 60s who watched just the road games back in the 70s until Turner bought the team and started putting all 162 games on, suffering through that. We knew we had a chance to win every fourth or fifth day because Nuxie Necro was taking the mound. All right, that's enough of that. Now, this is a Redux episode. Episode 35 of Football Talk with Coach Chip is a Redux. I've been made fun of enough for the first episode, and they make fun of me nicely when they say stuff like, "Man, your YouTube has come so far since that first one." I know what that means. It's kind of like when I was talking to the guys on Run the Power, and they said, "Man, all that talent y'all got," and I said, "I know what that means," and I was just joking with them. And I'm joking with y'all too. Before we get started, hey, getting back to talking about our sponsors, hadn't done it in a few weeks. I got out of the habit because one of them had quit making his podcast. But the Johnny Buckets podcast with Thrift Behringer is back up and running after the COVID shutdown. The equipment, the studio they were using was closed, and now that they're slowly reopening the state of Georgia, they've been able to get back in the studio. And our boy Buckets, Johnny Buckets, refused to go back. He said, "I'm not going to make a second-rate podcast. It's a great sports podcast. Y'all be sure to tune into that when you get a chance." The Johnny Buckets podcast with our boy Johnny Buckets and Thrift Behringer, they cover all kind of sports. And I listened to them this morning on my run. They've dropped 2 since they came back, since they're slowly reopening the state, as I mentioned earlier. And don't forget our guys, our buddies over there at Johnny's New York Style Pizza in beautiful downtown, historic West Point, Georgia. For those of y'all that don't live in this area, in the Greater Valley area, the Chattahoochee Valley area, if you're coming from Atlanta to Auburn or from Auburn to Atlanta, it's on I-85. I know one time I said 75. I do that all the time. I even said it on the Run to Power. I said Lynette's just off 75. No, it's not. It's off 85. The highway between Atlanta and Montgomery. Look it up on your phone. Google Johnny's New York Style Pizza in West Point. Order a pizza. It's about 2 or 3 miles off the interstate at either of those exits right there. Either the last Georgia exit or the first Georgia exit, depending how you look at it, not counting the rest stop, or the first Alabama exit or the last Alabama exit, depending on how you look at it. And you can swing by there. They'll bring it out to your vehicle for you, and you can be on your merry way, head up the road, find you a rest stop, have you a picnic with some of the best pizza you're ever going to have. They also have great salads, sandwiches, and all kind of Italian dishes, baked penny, lasagna, spaghetti, you name it. They got it. Johnny's a New York style pizza. So don't forget that. And also, who can forget my beautiful bride? That's Tammy Pierce Real Estate. Live, serve, work, play. Tammy Pierce Real Estate with offices in beautiful downtown Pine Mountain, Georgia, and the home office down in Columbus. So let's get started with the podcast, the Jet Drill Redux. I was thinking about it and I said, you know what? If Francis Ford Coppola can do a redux of Apocalypse Now and fix what he thought was a mistake back in, 78 or so, when he made Apocalypse Now, which at the time was the most expensive movie ever made, and they call that nowadays a TV movie, then I can redo my first episode of Football Talk with Coach Chip. All right, let's get started. Let's revisit the jet drill with a little more high tech. Now, here you see is our jet drill left, and it's set up for a half line. Now, what you got to realize is facing them on the same hash, about 20 yards away, is another group, the right side, working jet drill right. We don't work the back side of it during the drill because all we're doing is kind of man blocking it over there in case the quarterback keeps it and throws the backside slant if they want to chase motion and leave the flat wide open on the backside. And you can go to I think episode 2, and we talk about the what you can do off of the jet sweep. But this we're going to deal primarily with the jet drill. All right, the red things you see right here, those are cones, and I call that the hump. All right, and I tell them when they get the ball, the jetter gets the football right here. When the jetter gets the football, he is going to bubble back to create space between him and the O-line, and for that free 3 technique running through right there. Now you can full reach it and block the B gap, and if he's in the 3, you block him. Now the way we've done it in the past is pull him, and I'll show you that in a moment. Pull that guard. He's going to bubble back, get behind the cones, and follow those cones. No matter what. No matter what. In the beginning of the drill, no matter what you do, you follow those cones. And you see they'll take you all the way to the sideline. And it trains them to run to the jungle, run to the green grass. I can't even remember who I got run to the jungle from. It's not, and I didn't get it from Credence. Run through the jungle means run to the grass. Go where it's green. Okay, and stay outside no matter what, you know. And I tell him, I said, the good Lord comes back while we're doing jet drill, he better find your happy butt running the hump. Okay? All right, now the X, or the wide receiver, is going to run off stalk, the corner. They get great stalk work doing this, because you'll have 2 or 3 doing it this way, 2 or 3 down here, the other group doing it the other way. If you flip them, you know, you can have them do it one time, jog down there, and when their turn comes back, and you're just repping it like crazy. We put it in, it's like 10 minutes first few times we do it. Once the kids learn it, we go jet drill. And usually they can see because the cones are set up. I like to do it coming either right at the beginning of our offensive time or right after a break, right after special teams, so I can be setting up the drill. I don't know about y'all, but we don't have all those managers. We've got some managers, and then there's been a few years I've been able to have some good managers and teach them how to set up the jet drill, because we do it the same every time. All right, the H is always going to stalk number 2, okay? And you count from the sideline. Wide receiver's got number 1. H has got number 2. The running back is going to run. I got him kind of wide here, but really what he wants to do is run through. I can edit that, can't I? Look at me. He wants to run through right here, and if anything is hanging off of his tackle's block, he knocks the crap out of it as he continues on right here at an angle, trying to pick off a linebacker running. Okay, right there. All right, now what about, all right, of course, reach number 3. 1, 2, 3. Left tackle's going to reach number 3 right there, and he's going to work to the outside. And I'll tell this kid right here, don't get reached, and make this guy work his butt off. Work his butt off coming out here. And you've heard me say it before. You can't reach anyone that doesn't want to get reached. And I show them all the time. And I say, you can't reach my old butt. Because as soon as I'll get in a 5 technique, and as soon as the ball snapped, I'm hauling butt to the sideline, and they're chasing me. I said, stay with me. Sooner or later, I'm going to have to stop and play football to make a tackle. And that's when you tell the jetter, when that happens, if you get this right here, and he's doing this like that, sooner or later, then he can cut inside that, then get back out there on the hump. Get back out there on his path. And there's going to be teams that are going to do that. And there'll be teams that come out here and do crazy stuff like do this. And there'll be teams that put a guy right here, and they'll bring a guy way up right here trying to come box you. And now, eventually, once you get the drill down pat, you put a boxer out here, okay? And the H still going to block like this. And the tailback knows he's going to get the boxer, unless you like doing it with your tailback over here, okay? And you can do that. It just depends. But what we've found is teams will overload us to the field because we're such a we've been in the past. Remember now, the last 11 years I've been at Lynette, and now I'm starting a new gig over here in Manchester, Georgia. And different group of kids we'll see, and what we're going to do. But I don't know how we're going to do it yet, or even we're going to do it to the same extent that we did it when we were at Lynette. But he'll go get him. And I've had him communicate where the H turn around and say, get him. Or the tailback and say, get him, because he's going to get this guy here. And that's what doing the jet drill does for you. It allows the kids do it so much, they get comfortable with it. And they'll practice that thing so much, and they learn to talk. And I empower those kids to talk and give them a sense of ownership over what they do. And I tell them all the time, I said, listen here, I don't care as long as you get the thing done. When you talk about it, you got to do it in a hurry, because we practice the drill full boat. But we're going to reach. We're going to stalk with number 1. We're going to stalk number 2. We're going to reach number 3. And if they overload you, that's when you make the adjustments. I've actually, if people want to do all that crazy stuff, I'd empty that joker and put the tailback out here too. And let the tailback be. I said, how many of y'all want to put out there? And then sometimes we'll bring the other receiver over here and go over. It looks like some of that Navy stuff they do. Some of y'all probably seen some of the footage on some of the other episodes. We'd have two guys on the line right here, the H and the tailback out here. Okay? So we got four guys outside the tackle to the play sides. How many of y'all want to put out there? You say, well, you're going to run out of people pretty soon. But I can put the tackle out there too. I can put the right tackle out there. Okay? We're just going to put him out. We can keep moving people over. We can get that what they call that stupid formation. That's fine. But sooner or later, you're going to weaken yourself in the box. We're going to fake the jet. We're going to run quarterback power. We're going to check out on your butt. All right, back to the drill. All right, now, the way I've got it drawn up here, the guard is reaching. We're on full reach on this. Now, what you can do, and I've had a lot, and another reason why I'm revisiting it, I don't know if I've answered questions properly or not through email and messages on Twitter and Facebook. I'm going to pull that joker right there, okay? And he's working at an angle, all right? And he's looking inside for a guy coming right here, for a backer coming. He said, well, I've heard people say, like, guards can't get out there fast enough. Yeah, he can, because, look, not all guards, okay? Now, I remember where I was, we were a little more athletic. Our line was small and athletic. This guy right here, the last several years, was like 180 pounds. And had the skill set of an H or even a running back as far as speed and all that and agility. He just didn't have the hand-eye coordination to be a skilled guy like catching the football and stuff like that. But he was, if you saw him walk, if you were in our weight room and you saw him working out without a shirt on or something like that, you would think like, my God, what's he play? Is that a strong safety? No, he's a guard and an all-state defensive end, DJ. We had kids like that were getting out here. Now, I know that some people don't, and that's why I said you can full reach it. It's okay. But what I'm saying is, if that guy's got any agility, he can get out here far enough, because look what the Z is doing. The jetter is running the hump. We're not cutting it up right here. We're not cutting it up right here. You go back, look at episodes 2 and 3, I believe, and look at the jet highlights, and you'll see, or I'll show you where we did it wrong and show you the result. And I'll show you where we did it right, and I'll show you the result of running the hump. They cannot cut up in here because it screws up the blocking. First off, we're not blocking in here. And I tell them, and you can tell them and tell them and tell them, and sure enough, they're going to do it. But let a game or two or a full scrimmage go, and they start getting teed off on by them backers who aren't getting blocked, and we're just trying to get in folks' way as they're coming out of the middle of the formation, they'll figure it out. And just show them film. Show them the film that I've uploaded onto YouTube. This is how you do it. You run the hump. Now, there are ways to cut that thing up, and that's in episodes 2 and 3 as well, where we block it a little bit different, and it's a pre-designed turn-up for teams that want to run like madmen out here and are committed to stopping the jet. Okay, now the reason I love the jet, because it displaces the defense so much, because that's what they have to do to stop it. If you got any speed, a modicum of speed, that's a good word for you right there. That's that Troy State University education coming through. If you got a modicum of speed, you can run jet successfully and get out here and make people, if you don't get but 3, 4, 5 yards when you average on jet, That's because they're committing to stopping it. And that's going to open up your counter. That's going to open up your power. All right, back to the blocking. So he's going to pull right here and work wide, or he's going to full reach. In the drill, we do not block the 3 technique. I'll take like a really athletic, fast, twitchy kind of guy. Ain't got to be the best player. And yet I tell him, nobody's going to touch you. The snap count is on its first sound. Okay, you know the snap count. I don't even watch the football. All I want you to do is when that ball is snapped, I want you to haul butt right here. And you can even haul butt at an angle if you want to, you see. And try to touch the jetter on the hip. Try to touch the jetter on the hip. And if he can touch him, that means our timing's off. Then I got an issue with the quarterback and the jetter. Okay, that's how we get the timing down. So, well, Coach, where do you snap the football? Can't tell you. It's not that I won't tell you. I can't tell you. Because it varies. It varies on your kid. It varies on your center. It varies on your jetters. And that's why you got that cone here. Because you're standing right about in here watching this thing, or right over here. I like to stand right here and make sure that kid cuts back and gets on the hump. You don't want to run into my 240 pounds. He'll break me in two, but he don't want to run into it. All right? Right in here, I put that cone. Maybe about where the guard is with B gap, and the quarterback can start getting an idea about where he needs to snap it based on the center snap, based on the jetter speed. And I've said this before, you practice a bunch of jetters. Okay? I've actually put a substitute quarterback in the game and changed the Z because I knew that sub quarterback had been working with a different group of Zs, and he wasn't good at working with the 1 and 2 Z that were in the rotation, the 1 and 2 jetters, because the speed factor is different. You got a kid that runs a 4.5 and you got a kid that runs a 4.6. So, that makes a little bit of a difference. And the 4.6 kid may even get there quicker because he's going a little bit faster. Okay? Center, I just tell him, you block a gap defender. You block a gap defender. Now, if you're doing full stretch, full reach, let him reach the play side A. Now, the reason I tell him block a gap defender is that way if they vacate out here and leave the slant open from the backside, quarterback will pull and throw slant, and we don't want anybody getting in a quarterback's face and hitting the quarterback, so we're going to block anything here back, just man block it. Okay, just tell them to block the man on your head. Okay, and tell the tackle, the guard, and the center, and then the other two that matter. Look, the blocks that matter, guys, are right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And those guys getting those linebackers, that's kind of hinky whether it matters or not. It just depends on how good their linebackers are and how good your jetter is. And if they just get out there and get in the way and make these guys not be able to run a straight line, make them run around people. Just make them make a move. And I tell them, don't worry about them dancing. Don't worry about them dancing. Dancers aren't tacklers. Okay? If dancers could tackle, then the solid gold dancers would have been in the NFL. They're not. So make them, if you just get out here and get in the way, it's kind of like a screen. We just, a few episodes ago, we did our screen drill, which is very similar to this in the way we block it and the way we set up the drill. And it's got little, nuances about it that make it different. All right, so, and we don't read the jet the way we run it. And this past year we did. Coach Steven Jackson, brilliant young offensive coordinator, he liked to read it. And I retired and stepped down December a year ago from teaching, classroom teaching, and took over the offensive line. And we brought in the new OC. I stepped down from being OC. And he liked it. He liked the jet drill and kind of used it for his screen drill. But he wanted to read it so we didn't go quite as fast right here. And that was fine. We won a lot of football games doing it my way. And you know what? We won a lot of football games doing it Coach Jackson's way too. Reading the joker and running the quarterback read off of it, where you block it like power. Okay, and stuff like that, and doing RPOs off of it. We did that. I can do it both ways. And remember now, because of the COVID thing, I haven't been with my kids except 4 times, not counting Zoom, We've been Zooming 3 times a week. I got a Zoom coming up in a little bit with him. Okay? So we don't read it. I told him I want him going anywhere from 3/4 to 90%. You know, 80, 85, 90%. I want you hauling butt. And you can watch some of the video. That quarterback barely getting it in there. Also, we tell the quarterback he's responsible for the handoff in the sense that he's the one that's got to check to make sure it got made. Because if he pulls it to throw the backside, and that's a pre-snap. He said, I thought you didn't read it. He decides if this guy over here bumps down or bumps in and leaves a void, we got an automatic slant back here. Okay? An automatic slant. And he'll pull it and throw it, and it's already predetermined. We don't want the jetter looking back over his shoulder to see what's going on. And so we tell the jetter, you're gone. Whether you get the ball or not, you're on the hump and you're off to the races. That's what we tell the jetter. Okay? All right, let's look at jet drill right. It's the same thing, and you're doing them in tandem. They're facing each other. Okay? And the coaches can stand in the middle. The wide receiver coach can stand in the middle because he's got a kid behind him doing it. He's got a kid in front of him doing it, and he's just looking back and forth. Okay, your running back coach right in here, coaching both running backs. Whoever's got the H's, the lineman can stand right here. And I moved all over, especially once we got all this down pat. I used to stand right here at the beginning. Okay? To make them do it. Remember, the way we run it. And I've heard folks say, our kids is going fast, and we read it. If he's going fast as our kid, I don't buy it. Okay, I'm telling you, I don't buy it. All right. And now, do you say we always did that fast? No. I can show you where somebody came through here and made the tackle because the timing was off. And I always told the quarterback and the jetter, that's on y'all. Okay, because we practice it. Remember that 3-tech, nobody touching, especially if you're going to pull it. Okay, if you're going to full stretch it, it really doesn't matter. Okay, now if you're going to have just one blocking scheme for jet, you can full stretch him, say try to escape that guy. Try to get off right here. Dip and rip around that 3 technique and let him come up the field. All right, and if you're going to just do your outside zone blocking, you really can't do that because you got a separate thing going on. All right, that's it. I just want to do a redux on it and maybe give you a better idea, maybe answer some of the questions. Some guys said, well, if you use a tight end, can you pull the tackle? I said, absolutely, you can pull the tackle. But now if they got a 5 technique, even though you have a tight end, you're going to have to block that 5 technique, either reach him with the tackle or block down with the tight end. And you can pull. I've done that on my Rockets where I pulled him. I don't know if I think I pulled my tackles on jet a long time ago. We were under center and we used a tight end. I wouldn't pull the tackle with no tight end, unless you walk that H up and he blocked down on him or whatever. But there's a lot of different ways to do it. My way is not the best way or the right way. It's the best way for me, and best way for me and the kids that I've coached. There's a good chance I may do it different this year, if at all. If my quarterback can throw that thing around on those screens, we may use that as our perimeter game. It just depends. Like I said, I was with them for 4 days, and I was in the weight room. I hadn't been on a football field with a single football player yet at Manchester High School, thanks to that COVID-19 mess. I've been with them a lot on Zoom. They're going to know my terminology. They're going to know the diagrams. I've even got filmed some stuff in the backyard using tomato buckets and yard furniture to show them stuff. But guys, let's hang in there. I told you in the last episode we're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. NCAA talking about starting back in August. A lot of the states are talking about letting the high schools get together with small groups in June, and that's positive. Right now, I'll take anything. If you have any questions, remember you can hit me up at seagle.chip. That's SEAGLE. Seagle.chip. SEAGLE, like S Eagle. Okay. At gmail.com. Seagle.chip@gmail.com. I'm Chip Siegel on Facebook. I am Coach Chip. I have a Coach Chip page on Facebook. I have a coach's page on Facebook that I share all my videos to, that I'm primarily using that for. I'm a member of a lot of different Facebook coaches groups. I'm on Twitter at Chip Siegel. Boy, I'm getting 2 or 3 followers every day on Twitter because of my appearance on the Run the Power with the guys, Coach Walls and Coach Harper, who they do a great job too. Speaking of podcasts, hit that podcast up. You can find it anywhere you get podcasts. I know it's on Stitcher, Apple. I listen on Spotify. What am I missing? There's other ones out there. You can find Run the Power. You can find Johnny Buckets on all those as well. The Johnny Buckets podcast is a great podcast. You hit them up. They're a big friend of the Coach Chip, Football Talk with Coach Chip. Don't forget Johnny's New York Style Pizza over in West Point when you're coming through this area, anywhere north of Columbus. When you're coming from Atlanta, going to Auburn and Montgomery. If you're coming from Auburn and Montgomery, headed toward Atlanta, give our guy Ben over there at Johnny's New York Style Pizza a holler. He'll hook you up. He's been trying to get right through this mess with contactless delivery and a lot of carry out. Well, until next time, folks, be safe, listen to the experts. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and be elite.